22nd, after their opponents had gone home for Christmas. The act established the most gigantic trust cartel on earth. Congressman Charles Lindbergh said at the time, when the president signs this bill, the invisible government via the monetary power will be legalized. The people may not know it immediately, but the day of reckoning is only a few years removed. Mullins explains that the legislation passed just in time for the American people to finance World War I. The European powers no longer could afford the luxury of another war, but the U.S. was relatively debt-free and made the whole thing possible. Mullins makes the convincing case that every U.S. president since D.R. Roosevelt has been a lackey of the bankers. In 2006, the American people paid over $400 billion in interest on the national debt, most to the central bankers to maintain this massive fraud. The bankers enforce an iron grip on the political and cultural organs of the nation. According to Mullins, the New York Times is owned by Cube Lube, while the Washington Post is owned by Lazarus Freeze in Europe. The Rothschilds own the Reuters as well as the French and German news services. Anyway, we paid $400 billion to pay back money that they made that was nothing. You still there? Out of our taxes. That's what taxes is. I shouldn't say ours since I don't pay taxes. But, you know, the news that you pay taxes, paid is stupid. I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about your credit card bill?
No, I don't want to talk about the money system. It's dumb.
Oh, I know. I was talking about what a real money system's supposed to be like. It has gold dinar and silver dirham, and there's never inflation or deflation or change of value because gold coins just stays the same. It's always the same thing.
Well, then the socialism,
like,
that makes...
Oh,
I hang out with a bunch
gold
of...
coins for the next
I hang out with a bunch of welfare cases, so I can't complain about that. Like, socialism, like taking people's tax money and giving it to other people is stealing.
Yeah, they filtered a lot of money into Eastern Europe through that APEC stuff.
And all these, like, I don't know, it's just, I just read this book about how far we've...
That's what that whole Goldman Sachs thing is about, that made the Occupy Wall Street thing happen, I guess.
I read this book about how far we've gone, how we went from the republic to democracy to socialism right now. Is where we're at. And
well, Canada somehow had a decent socialist system, but ours is like well, Hitler was called socialism and Canada was called socialism. Those are two different kinds of socialism. Because Canada seemed to be, it looked pretty decent to me. I don't know. It looks like they have like humanitarian consideration, and they're still socialism. But oh, you know what? We got the neoliberalism. We introduced that the last time. I think that was some kind of liberal fascism.
Still taking people's tax money and paying for something else that's not yours, that doesn't help you, is stealing.
Well, there's a whole lot of scum running this world, and they just need, I don't know what to do about it, but people need to.
And then also just lists and lists of tax supported government agencies and companies that I've never even used in my life. So if I pay taxes,
we're like financing the corporations that we have to buy from.
Companies that could be run by just by their customers and not have to get paid for by taxes.
the Illuminati. It's a system that just turns people against people. But you know, this is what's about Islam, and following the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In capitalism, when two different people do the same thing, they're in competition with each other. But in Islam, the race is to repentance. The competition is for righteousness. And when two people are competing with each other doing the same thing, it enhances the effect, and it's for the greater good of mankind. And that is the great contrast between capitalism and Islam, is that Islam, when two people do the same thing, that they aren't trying to bite each other's heads off, unless they got a devil that makes them envy each other, but that's a different thing. You don't make a system out of devilish envy.
Don't even want a revolution anymore because there's so many people on welfare. They'd be just like, what?
Yeah.
We don't get welfare anymore? We gotta go get a job. We gotta, like, grow our own food and make our own way. And I like that.
Okay, let's get that idea on film. The correct.
I'm kind of gone with that. I would have liked living back then because everybody's just like, Darwin's theory, you know, the strongest will survive. If you're not, don't get off your ass in the morning and make your way in life, then you're just gonna get fucked.
That's not how. Nice agnostic interpretation.
Don't expect anybody else to pay your way because we're not social.
Now you're turning into an agnostic Midwesterner.
Yeah.
Well, you can get up and you're supposed to be out there in the garden, like working with the creation you've been born in. Like we should be getting to know the earth that our Creator put us on, instead of like just going into an office so we can live another day. This is stupid. We are literally slaves right now. That's why if you do emancipation of a slave,
that's the